Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, we're going to be looking at,
Oh, this is a good one.
it's something we all use every day,
Right.
words
It is.
constantly,
Oh,
and
yeah.
sometimes without even thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to be looking at a podcast episode called When I Speak, Honoring Heaven with Our Words.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. It takes this kind of spiritual lens on how we use our words.
I like that.
A
Yeah.
spiritual lens.
And how they reflect who we are and impact the world around us.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, because most of us don't even really think about it.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
we just talk.
we just talk.
Words are just flowing out of our mouths
Exactly.
all day long. But this is like, whoa, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let's think about the weight of what we're saying.
Yeah. And it's not just how they impact other people, but how they reflect back on us.
Exactly.
It's almost like a mirror.
Yeah. And right from the start, this episode hits us with this proverb. The power of life and death is in the tongue.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. That's a heavy statement.
Right.
It really makes you think about the impact our words can have.
Absolutely.
Not just on others, but on ourselves too.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever noticed how your words can change based on like
Oh, at the time?
your mood,
Yeah.
who you're with?
If I'm in a bad mood, watch out.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if you're with your boss versus like
Oh, yeah, totally different.
hanging out with your friends, right?
Different vocabulary.
Completely different.
100%.
Yeah, and what I found really interesting about this episode is how it approaches this idea of holy speech.
Okay.
And it's not about, religious jargon
Good.
or preaching at people.
Right.
It's about using words that are going to lift other people up,
Okay.
inspire them,
I like that.
and really reflect your values.
Yeah.
It suggests that your words can actually be a testament to what you believe, whether you realize it or not.
So it's kind of like actions speak louder than words, but words are still actions.
Yeah, and they can speak volumes
Yeah.
about who we are.
For sure. And what's really interesting is
Wow.
the speaker in this episode, they actually share a personal story
Oh, yeah.
about their own transformation.
Yeah.
And they talk about how their language used to be just terrible.
Really?
Yeah, perverse, coarse, vulgar, all the bad words
Wow.
before they found faith and cleaned it all up.
Huh. So like a total before and after.
Total before and after.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, what were the steps,
Yeah.
what clicked for them to make that change?
Right, like what were the mindset shifts
Exactly.
that helped them transform their speech?
Because it can be done right.
Yeah,
It's possible.
clearly.
Clearly. Yeah, and, thinking about that before and after,
Yeah.
it makes me think about the times when, I've adjusted my own language depending on who I'm with or, the situation.
Totally.
I'm not going to use the same words with my grandma that I use when I'm out with my buddies.
Right, or in a job interview.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Big difference.
Totally. And this episode is kind of challenging us to take that adaptation a step further.
Okay.
Yeah. We already adjust our language based on the situation.
Yeah.
But what if we held ourselves to an even higher standard? One that's rooted in our values and the kind of impact we want to have on the world.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's about being more intentional,
Intentional.
not just letting the words fly out,
Right.
but actually thinking before we speak.
Yeah, and this episode actually introduces this beautiful concept of Thanksgiving as a dialect.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving as a dialect.
So it suggests that gratitude and godliness can become as natural to us
Wow.
as like the slang we use with our friends
Okay.
or, like our regional accent.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about like consciously cultivating a dialect of Thanksgiving in your own life?
I mean, I like to think I'm a pretty grateful person,
Yeah.
but to make it second nature,
Yeah.
it's just how I talk.
Yeah, it just rolls right off the tongue.
That's a cool idea.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And what's really powerful about this metaphor is that it invites us to be more intentional
Yeah.
about the words we choose.
Right. We're making a choice every time we speak. It's
Exactly.
not
Yeah.
just automatic.
Brilliant.
We have the power to decide what comes out of our mouths.
Yeah, and imagine if our default language was filled with gratitude, kindness,
The
encouragement.
world would be a different place.
Right. How would that shift our mindset?
Yeah,
How would that impact our interactions with other people?
absolutely.
And it makes me wonder if our words are a testimony to our beliefs and values.
Yeah.
Are we actually living in alignment with what we're saying?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Are we walking the walk?
Yeah. Do our actions match our words?
Because anyone can talk the talk, right?
Right.
But are we actually living it out?
That's the real test.
It is.
It is.
It's easy to say the right things,
Mhm.
but are we actually being authentic.
Yeah. And are we using our words to build bridges
I like that.
or create walls?
Yeah.
And I think that's something we all need to reflect on.
Absolutely.
Because our speech has a ripple effect.
For sure.
It influences not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us.
It's like throwing a pebble in a pond.
Yeah.
Those ripples go out and out.
Exactly. And we may not even realize how far they reach
That's true.
and what kind of impact they're having.
So we got to be mindful
We've got to be mindful.
of those ripples.
Yeah. And that's where this episode gets really practical.
Okay, I'm ready.
It actually lays out some tangible steps.
I love tangible steps.
Me too.
Give me something I can actually do.
Exactly. Something actionable
Yeah.
that we can start doing today to transform our language.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so one of the simplest
Okay.
yet most powerful tips is this idea of pausing before we speak.
Oh, that's a good one.
It sounds so basic,
It does.
but I know I don't do it enough.
Me neither.
Like, how often do we actually take a moment to think before we blurt something out?
Seriously.
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Everything's so fast-paced.
Instant reactions.
Yeah, rapid-fire conversation.
Exactly.
But that pause,
That pause.
even if it's just for a breath,
Yeah.
can make a huge difference.
A world of difference.
It gives us a chance to consider our words, check our intentions,
Yeah.
and ask ourselves, like, is what I'm about to say
Right.
aligned with my values?
Yeah, the kind of conversation I want to have.
Exactly.
It's like hitting the edit button before we speak.
I love that analogy,
Right.
hitting the edit button.
Yeah. Proofread those words before they come out.
Because once they're out there,
They're out there.
you can't take them back.
Nope.
So edit before you hit send.
Exactly. And another tip that really resonated with me
Okay.
was this idea of being mindful of the things that we allow into our minds.
Okay. What we read,
Yeah.
what we watch,
Mhm.
the music we listen to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because if we're constantly bombarded with negativity,
Right.
it's going to eventually seep into our own language.
It's like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
But it's not just about avoiding the negative stuff, right?
Oh,
It's
right.
also about actively seeking out positive and uplifting content.
Yeah, feed your mind with good stuff.
Yeah, if we fill our minds with beauty, inspiration, truth,
Mm-hmm.
our words will naturally reflect those influences.
Right. It's like curating our mental diet.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Curating our mental diet.
Choosing to feed our minds with things that nourish us
Yeah,
and uplift us.
makes sense.
And speaking of influences,
Okay,
the source material also emphasizes the importance of our circle,
okay.
the people we surround ourselves with.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They have a huge impact on our language,
Absolutely.
our attitudes, even our values.
100%.
If you're constantly hanging out with people who are complaining, gossiping, using harsh language,
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot harder to break those patterns in yourself.
It's like trying to learn a new language,
Yeah,
but everyone around you is speaking a different one.
exactly.
You might pick up a few phrases here and there,
Right.
but it's going to be an uphill battle.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, you need to immerse yourself in the language you want to learn.
Right. And that's why the source material suggests that having friends who will gently call you out
Oh, that's good.
when you slip up,
Yeah.
or who will encourage you to keep striving for better.
I need those friends.
We all do.
Yeah, because we all slip up sometimes.
We do.
It's good to have people who will lovingly hold you accountable.
Yes, lovingly.
Yeah, not in a judgmental way, but just
Right.
like, hey, I noticed you said that.
Yeah,
Maybe you could try this instead.
exactly.
Just a little nudge in the right direction.
Yeah, because we all need that support. That encouragement, that accountability on this journey
Yeah.
of personal growth.
It's a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
Right. It's ongoing.
We're always learning and growing
always evolving.
and evolving.
And our language should evolve too.
Exactly. And, they take that idea of accountability
Okay.
a step further
Okay.
by suggesting that we find a specific person to be our accountability partner.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So like a dedicated word buddy.
Yeah. Someone you check in with regularly,
Okay.
share your progress with,
Yeah.
and who will hold you accountable
Hold you accountable.
to your commitment to using your words in a way that honors your values.
I like that.
Yeah. And I think having that external support can be incredibly motivating.
Oh, for sure.
It's like having a workout buddy
Yeah.
who pushes you to go to the gym,
Even when you don't feel like it.
even when you don't feel like
You got to show up.
you gotta show up.
Because your buddy's waiting. Yeah. And you know that someone else is invested in your success.
Right.
And that can help you stay on track and make progress even when it's challenging.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the things I really appreciate about this episode
Yeah.
is that It acknowledges that this is a process.
Okay.
It's not about being perfect all the time.
Right.
We're all going to slip up.
Oh, for sure.
We're going to have moments where we revert back to old patterns.
Yeah.
But the key is to keep striving for progress.
Progress, not perfection.
Not perfection.
Yeah.
And the source material really leans into the spiritual aspect of this journey.
Okay.
Emphasizing the role of prayer, seeking guidance from a higher power.
Right.
But I'm curious,
Yeah.
what about those who don't necessarily connect with that framework?
That's a great question.
Yeah. What can be their guiding principle
Right.
for using words constructively and ethically?
Yeah. Something to think about.
Yeah. Because, well, the source material frames this transformation through a spiritual lens.
Right.
I think the core principles can resonate.
Yeah.
Even without a specific religious belief system.
Absolutely.
So while the episode talks about aligning our speech with a higher power,
Okay.
maybe the question for those who don't subscribe to a particular faith becomes,
Yeah.
what are my core values?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of impact do I want to have on the world?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good shift.
Then how can my language reflect those aspirations?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it becomes about identifying our own personal North Star
Yeah.
for how we want to use our words,
I love that.
our guiding principles for communication.
Yeah.
To make sure we're using this powerful tool responsibly.
Responsibly.
Because words are powerful.
They are.
We got to use them wisely.
Wisely and with intention.
With intention.
That's the key
That's the key.
to unlocking the true power of language.
To making a positive impact on the world.
One word at a time.
One word at a time. I like that.
So we've been talking about how our words can be like a testimony to our beliefs and values.
Right, like they reveal who we are.
Yeah. But how do we actually make that shift?
Mm-hmm.
How do we start using our words in a way that truly aligns with who we want to be?
Well, that's where the episode gets really practical.
Okay, good, because I need some tractable tips.
Me too. I love actionable advice.
Exactly.
So one of the first things they suggest is being mindful of what we allow into our minds.
Okay, so like what we read.
Yeah, what we watch, the music we listen to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The idea is that if we're constantly surrounded by negativity,
Right.
it's going to seep into our own language.
It's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. But it's not just about avoiding negativity. It's
Wow.
also about actively seeking out positive and uplifting content.
So like feeding our minds with good stuff.
Exactly. If we fill our minds with beauty, inspiration, truth,
Mm-hmm.
our words will naturally reflect those influences.
So it's kind of like curating our mental diet.
Exactly.
Wait.
Choosing what we consume.
Yeah, being intentional about the things that we ought to influence us.
Absolutely. And speaking of influences,
Yeah.
the episode also talks about the importance of our circle.
Our circle.
Yeah, the people we surround ourselves with.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because think about it, the people we spend the most time with,
Mm-hmm.
they have a huge impact on our language,
Yeah,
our attitudes, even our values.
it's true. If you're constantly hanging out with people who are complaining, gossiping, using harsh language,
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot harder to break those patterns in yourself.
It's like trying to learn a new language, but everyone around you is speaking a different one.
Right, you might pick up a few phrases here and there,
Exactly.
but it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, you need to immerse yourself in the language you want to learn.
And the source material suggests that having friends who will gently call us out when we slip up,
Oh, that's so important.
yeah, or who will encourage us to keep striving for better.
I need those friends in my life.
We all do, because we all slip up sometimes.
All the time.
It's good to have people who will lovingly hold you accountable.
Yeah, lovingly, not in a judgmental way,
Exactly.
but just like, hey, I noticed you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could try this instead.
Just a little nudge in the right direction.
Yeah, we all need that support.
Yeah, we do that encouragement, that accountability on this journey of personal growth.
It's a journey for sure.
It is not a destination.
Right, it's ongoing.
Always learning and growing.
Always evolving.
And our language should evolve too.
Absolutely.
And they actually take that idea of accountability a step further.
Okay, how so?
They suggest finding a specific person to be your accountability partner.
Oh, wow. Like a dedicated word buddy?
Yeah, someone you check in with regularly,
Okay.
share your progress with,
Mm-hmm.
and who will hold you accountable to your commitment to using your words in a way that honors your values.
I like that having that external support can be so motivating.
It can. It's like having a workout buddy. Who pushes you to go to the gym, even when you don't feel like it?
You got to show up because your buddy's waiting.
Exactly. And knowing that someone else is invested in your success
Yeah,
can help you stay on track.
for sure.
and make progress, even when it's challenging.
Absolutely. Accountability is key.
It is. And one of the things I appreciate about this episode is that it acknowledges that this is a process.
Right.
It's not about being perfect all the time.
We're all human.
We're all going to slip up.
Definitely.
We're going to have moments where we revert back to old patterns.
Oh, yeah.
But the key is to keep striving for progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection. I love that.
And the source material really emphasizes the role of prayer and seeking guidance from a higher power.
Right. Connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
But what about those who don't necessarily connect with that framework?
That's a good question.
Yeah. What can be their guiding principle for using words constructively and ethically?
I think it comes down to identifying our own personal values.
Our value.
Yeah, like what do we stand for?
Oh, it's important to us.
Exactly. And how can our language reflect those values?
So it's about aligning our words with our actions.
Exactly. Walking the walk.
And being authentic in our communication.
Yeah, because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
our words have power.
they do.
And we need to use that power responsibly to create positive change in the world.
One word at a time.
One word at a time.
Okay, so we've been really diving deep into this idea of, holy speech and how our words can reflect our spiritual state.
Yeah, it's like a window into our soul.
But even if you don't necessarily, subscribe to a specific faith, there's still so much we can learn from this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
About using our words intentionally.
Right, because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's about recognizing the power of language and using that power responsibly.
Exactly. And that's something we can all strive for,
Yeah.
regardless of our beliefs.
For sure.
So instead of asking ourselves, will this please a higher power?
Right.
Maybe the question becomes,
Yeah.
what kind of impact will my words have on others?
I like that.
Will they build people up or tear them down?
Yeah, will they contribute to a more positive and constructive conversation?
Exactly. And that's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
And the great thing is that a lot of the practical tips from the episode still hold up,
Yeah.
even if you don't come from a spiritual background.
Totally.
Like that idea of pausing before we speak.
Oh, yeah. Such a simple but powerful tool.
Right. Being mindful of the content we consume.
Curating that mental diet.
Exactly. Surrounding ourselves with supportive people.
Your tribe, your crew.
Yes. These are all things that can help us become more intentional communicators.
That's 100%.
And they can benefit everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about it even in a secular context. Pausing before you speak
Yeah.
can help you avoid saying something you'll regret later.
Oh, totally.
Help you communicate more effectively. Build stronger relationships.
It's like taking a moment to proofread an important email
Yeah.
before you hit send.
Right. You wouldn't want to send a message full of typos.
No way.
So why wouldn't we take the same care with our spoken words?
Right, because those can have even more impact.
Sometimes. Yeah. And remember that point about, curating our mental diet.
Oh, yeah.
That's relevant whether you're religious or not.
Totally.
We all have the power to choose what we allow into our minds.
Right. The news we consume,
Yeah.
the social media we engage with, the conversations we participate in.
If we want to speak with more kindness, understanding positivity,
Yeah.
we need to surround ourselves with those influences.
It's like creating a positive feedback loop.
Exactly. The more we expose ourselves to uplifting and inspiring content,
Right.
the more likely we are to internalize those messages
Yeah.
and express them in our own language.
It's like you become what you consume.
I like that.
Yeah, you got to feed your mind the good stuff.
So this episode has really highlighted, that connection between our inner world
Right.
and our outer expression.
Like our thoughts and beliefs and values.
Exactly. They shape the words we choose.
Yeah.
And then those words have the power to shape our reality.
And the reality of those around us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as you move forward, remember this every time you speak.
Yeah.
You're making a choice.
That's true.
You're choosing to create something, whether it's connection, understanding,
Right.
maybe even just a moment of joy.
Use your words wisely.
Choose wisely
Yeah.
and use your words to build bridges, to inspire, to heal.
And to make the world a little brighter.
That's the true power of language.
It is.
To create positive change, one word at a time.
One word at a time. I love that.
Well, that is a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the power of words.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new
Yeah.
and that you'll continue to explore this topic in your own life.
And remember, choose your words wisely.
Choose wisely.